swear.
I mean, keep your clothes on. You know what I mean?
It's friendly to Doug's family.
It's friendly to my family. Yeah, that's
Hey,
anything goes in
fair
my
enough.
family. Right on. Well, hey everybody, welcome to the show. We're sitting here with our friend Billy Drowne out of Massachusetts. Billy, where are you? What part of Massachusetts you from?
Right now I live in East Freetown. It's kind of like southeastern Mass, like South Shore, as New England people would recognize it
You,
as.
you don't have like a New England accent. Do people in that area have one?
It kind of depends.
How drunk you
Like
are?
my grandparents grew up in Dorchester, which is right
Mm.
outside of Boston, so they kind of have it.
Okay.
If you grow like I live probably like maybe an hour away from Boston.
Okay.
I'd say if you're like a half hour away or so, you probably got it.
Okay. Have you ever had the Boston accent? Has that ever like snuck in? If you have a bunch of drinks, do you start parking your car?
I don't like the
Or
R's.
if you're talking to somebody else.
Yes, that's a good one. Yeah.
Right.
Not really. I don't do the R as bad, but like wicked. I say that
Wicked.
all the
Sure,
time.
that makes sense.
Um, I've actually been called out in other places for saying wicked around other people, and they're like, "You guys from Massachusetts or New
That's
England?"
great. Yeah. Isn't that
So
funny?
wicked's a
God
dead
damn.
giveaway.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. Well, thanks for being on the show. Thanks for taking the time to sit down and chat with us about what you do.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Thank you.
yeah, man. You and I have been buddies on social media for a few years.
Hmm.
Kind of just, how did we originally cross paths? I can't remember.
You know what's funny? I was thinking about that today.
Yeah.
The only thing that really stood out to me, it was, and I forget how long ago it was, but you made some clip. It was before you were doing your own thing, well before you were doing your own thing.
Okay.
Um, but you filmed yourself in the shop that you were working for, like saying hello to all the people that you work with, and everyone who was walking in was like, "Fuck off, Doug."
Yeah, yeah. I remember that one. Yeah.
It was just like you got me with the humor, dude. That
Okay.
like the funny stuff, dude. That was
Reel
awesome.
him in. Reel him in with the humor. Reel him in. Well,
Like
cool.
all of it, dude. I loved it.
That's great. Yeah, and you and I have just kind of kept in touch, and so you've been an electrician. You said you're 27 years old.
Yep, yep.
Right on.
Just,
And
just
you've been
turned
how
20.
long you been an electrician?
I started full time out of high school, so 18 is when I was actually like in the real world. But
Hmm.
I went to a vocational school, so
Okay.
I started my freshman year, so 14.
So you went vocational school for high school. Oh, you froze on us for a sec. Billy, are you there?
Yeah, you there?
There you are. Okay,
Alright,
cool.
cool.
So your whole high school was a vocational high school?
Yeah, so the way it worked was you would it was 1 week on, 1 week off of your shop and your academic classes. So
Yeah.
freshman year you go through all the shops, and then there's a stretch of time where you go through a week of like your top 7 choices, and then
Okay.
you get your permanent placement in like the middle of your freshman year.
Wow, that's early.
Yeah.
So you
Very
have to
early.
know the trade. You have to like know the trade you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I just picked what I thought was the most fun thing. Like I didn't really start paying attention until I was
Waiting
like
to see what you're
older.
gonna say there.
You chose wisely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, all right, interesting. My school was not like that at all. I was just a standard high school. We had like the Votech, we had the shop building, but it wasn't like the whole school wasn't that. What was yours like?
We had a thing called CTC, and our apprentice Daniel went there for, I want to say, just for auto mechanic stuff, but it wasn't. You couldn't do like a full time thing. It seems like Massachusetts might be a little more supportive of the trades. You know.
Yeah, I mean the school I went to has been around for a while.
Okay.
So I mean I don't really know the full history of it, but I know it's been there for quite some time.
So how did you know? This is something that for me that's I'm curious about. Is like how did you know when you were 13 before doing that, before saying I'm going to go to this Votech? Did you made that decision at 13 to say
No,
I'm going to choose this school? No.
I
Okay.
didn't know. My mom sent me there, so
Okay.
very very
Smart
grateful
lady.
for that.
Yeah, no doubt. So what was that? Were you upset with her about that at the time?
Yep, I was.
Okay. All right.
'Cause, none of my friends are going there. Like maybe,
Sure.
I mean, I don't even know. Maybe one of them did, but I was like, oh, I don't want to. Like, no one's going there. I don't want to go there.
S- That's
I
bad.
didn't have any friends in the trade until 7 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. Here I came,
Seriously.
and I was his friend outside the trades. I had to learn the trade
Yeah, no,
just to hang
that's
out
cool
with
too.
Josh.
Like I
Yeah.
still talk to some kids I graduated with.
Yeah,
The first job I had, I was with some kid I graduated with. So I mean, it's like two or three people, but
yeah.
we all have that one thing in common.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So, did your mom make that decision because she felt like she needed to set you on a certain path, or did she just see that might be a better choice for you?
Um, I don't know. So
Yeah.
both of my sisters went. I have two older sisters, and they went to like the local. But like I went to private school for elementary and up till seventh grade, so that's what my sisters did for high school.
Okay.
And I can imagine it was probably a financial thing, but
Got
also
it.
like, I mean, she probably got the. I didn't want to go to college like at
Yeah.
all. Freshman
Right.
year, I was like even then, I'm like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And that
felt the
school
same
was
way.
in the
Yeah.
town I grew up in, so
Okay.
it kind of just
That's
worked
cool.
out.
So, man, so you went straight. So, and then in your freshman year, you had to pick which trades. When you were going in, did you feel like you knew already? You wanted to be like focus on electrical work?
No, I
Okay.
didn't at all. I actually wanted as I went through the shops, I wanted to do like it was called collision. It was just auto body repair.
Okay. So my dad does.
Yeah, and my dad
Mhm.
sells cars, and he's like, no, he's like, don't do it. Absolutely not. Don't do it.
It's almost a dead trade at this point. It really is. Like the work that he does is
Right.
mostly insurance based. It's mostly small collision, and then most of the time it's totaled.
Right.
Um, so it's really a changing trade. Like he still does a lot of historic restoration, but it's a hobby. You know?
Exactly. And I
Yeah.
didn't know what they were talking about, but I'm like,
Okay.
okay, don't do
Yeah.
that, I guess.
Okay.
Well, it kind of came down to my top two choices were electrical or HVAC, because electrical was number one. So I was like,
Yeah.
if I don't get electrical, at least I get a little bit of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you made a good choice, man. I feel like HVAC. The thing I like the technology in HVAC. I think there's a lot of like really interesting
hmm
um, tools and mechanisms that you can use to like regulate the systems. I've seen, you see
Yeah.
people online with like their computers up and they're, it's pretty detailed, but
Mhm.
it seems to me more cumbersome. Like I like that as an electrician you can just kind of like grab a bag of tools and
hmm
go, right? You don't
Exactly.
have
Yeah.
to have a bunch of equipment usually.
And, like I'll watch those guys too, and like same with like plumbers, any trade. Like I'm people who are about their trade and they're good at it. Like I like watching it. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
I
we're
agree.
the same way.
I totally agree with that. Yeah. Cool. Right on, man. So straight out of high school, just grabbed a job and off you went.
Yep. Pretty
All right.
much.
All
Pretty much.
residential so far. What kind of have you
So yeah,
spanned the spectrum?
that's kind of like one of the things I want to talk about too. Like so,
Yeah.
my background basically is residential. I worked for one guy for I worked for like I was telling you like pre-show. I worked for a couple of like it was just bad. It was a bad experience. Really turned me off from everything.
Huh.
But then
Can you
I
tell
wound
us
up
about? So
working.
that was the one place you worked for that was a bad experience.
There was actually yeah one that kind of just really turned me off. Like
Okay.
the journeyman I was working with he was just one of those guys that had no time to tell you anything. Like would just send you off to do something. You had no idea what you were doing, and then
Get
like
mad at you.
made you sit in the van because you did something wrong that you don't even know what he's talking about.
Sit in the
I got
corner.
I got fired over a text message. It was just bad. I wanted nothing to do with the trade after that.
That's too bad.
Wow.
How long were you with that company?
I did. I worked so at that vocational school. You can either go on co-op, which is that 1 week that you would go to your shop class. You can go out and work. You can
Hmm.
go work a full week with whoever will hire you or who you work for, and like work
Okay.
towards your hours for your license. So I would work school vacations with that guy, and
Okay.
then I think yeah, it wasn't when I graduated. It was over some vacation, but I don't know. He just texted me one day and was like, "Hey, like, yeah, we're
Don't
done."
commit. Right
I'm
on.
like, okay, like
Okay.
fair enough.
So that was before you left high school.
Yeah, I was like
Okay.
17 at the time.
Right on. Okay. And after that happened, you weren't interested in doing it anymore. You were kind of like, yeah, this isn't for me.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I actually landscaped for a full week, and then somebody I graduated with called me and was like, "Hey, the guy I work for needs help. You wanna?" He's like, "You wanna work for him?" And then I worked for him for like 7.5 years. Got my license.
Wow.
Now, so that was a company of, I think at the time I left it was four people. It was me, a buddy that I got into the trade, my boss and his son, and now I
Okay.
work for a company of 900 people.
900.
Whoa.
Yeah, I made
Wow.
quite the jump.
Wow.
Is that still residential or is that commercial now?
So the company I started working for was, they did literally everything. Like
Okay.
there were times where I would be working in a hospital on Monday, and then I'd be wiring somebody's shed on Tuesday.
Hmm.
They did absolutely everything.
Okay.
So I started working in service, and then we got bought out by another company that's in our area. That was our So the company I started working for was 300 people. Then we got bought out by a company of 600 people.
Okay.
So
Mm.
now we dropped residential service, so now it's just strictly commercial work,
Oh,
commercial
wow. All right.
service,
Wow.
new jobs. It's kind of what I wanted to do.
Okay.
I wanted to, like, I did new houses from the ground up, snake and wires for 7 years. Like, I wanted that. Like, I just wanted something new.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's good. I think it's great to get that under your belt.
Yeah. So how
Yeah,
do you feel?
exactly.
What's the big difference for you between the small company and the big company? I mean, pros and cons.
The pros, I would definitely say, sorry.
You're all right.
The pros, it's definitely like, it's very very laid back at a small shop,
Yeah.
extremely laid back. The guy I was working for was very easygoing. I learned. I still call him. I'm still in a group chat with him and the
Yeah.
guy that I got into the trade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's just kind of like the relationship you build at a small
It's
shop.
great. Yeah.
But working for a bigger company now, I'm still in like their service division. It's like you work for a project manager. He has, X amount of licensed guys under him, and that's who I deal with on the day to day.
Yeah.
And it's like the same feel. Like, I love the people I work with. The guy I work for is great, but the cons, it's paperwork, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of emails, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of, like, I've gotten 3 emails in the past week for what my van number is. It's just like, it's stuff like that. It's like, you're like, I carry 2 phones around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That
call
kind
my
of shit.
project manager on my personal phone. I email someone else on my work phone.
Yeah.
But, like, it's still like, the people are great. I love everyone I work with, but it's just like, it's like, it's regulated, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
More bureaucratic things to deal
yeah,
with. Yeah.
exactly.
More. Yeah. More organizational things because it's so big.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And
It's a
like,
big ship. It's hard to navigate. It's hard to like make a big ship turn and move. It's a different ball game for sure.
yeah, that's a good point you make too, because like I was just gonna say, being in service, like, all the work orders I go to, like, I have to fill out notes for everything I did, stock list, like, be super specific signatures, because like that's how they get paid. Like,
Okay.
if I give bad notes or I make a bad stock list, like,
Wow.
we lose money. It's like the job's in the negatives, and like that's my job, that's the project manager's job. So like everything kind of ties in. It kind of gives you, like, I'm kind of learning like the business side of things while
That's
not
wonderful.
having the business ownership.
Yeah. I mean, it sounded like it when you said more paperwork and more
Right,
things
right.
like that. It's like, yeah, it sounds like you're just doing your own business.
There's a big learning curve, but
Yeah.
it's good. I love it. It's fun.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I think I'd like to get, there's a part of me that wants to take on more commercial stuff. It's funny, I haven't even talked to Josh about this, but I don't want to. I don't want to. But
Yeah, I don't blame you.
but when I go, like, I went to look at a facility today because a friend of mine works for this major book warehouse in town. And he said one of their facilities needed some help. He's like, I figured I'd reach out to you before I reach out to somebody else. I said, sure, I'll come take a look. And I went in today to this warehouse was like, I don't know the square footage. It was unbelievably enormous.
Good.
It was really cool. I didn't tell him that this was way outside our scope until after the tour because I was just like loving the tour. It was really
Yeah,
funny. I
that's
was like,
awesome.
oh, I won't piss him off too much, I don't think. But So like every like so often there's another massive transformer mounted up by the ceiling that drops down to a
Yep.
480 panel. The switchgear in this building, the
Dude,
switchgear
it's
alone
crazy.
was bananas. So like it was just really really cool. And here was the crazy thing: this building where the warehouse, this book warehouse is, it used to be a U.S. post office sorting facility. So here's what they have in there. It's creeped me out. There is a catwalk above. It basically runs the length of one of the walls of the facility, but it is a completely enclosed catwalk, and it's concrete footed, so you can't hear footsteps. So there's a concrete base up. It's probably the footing of the catwalk's probably like 10 feet up, and it's completely enclosed. It looks like a shipping container siding, and they have windows for viewing the people working, but they're not regular windows. They're completely weirdly designed, concealed, all black. It's just for intimidation. The guy said, he's like,
Yep.
they used to just. But isn't that? But what would it be like to
Make
work in
sure,
a?
make sure you're
Yeah.
not stealing the mail when you're
What
sorting.
the? Like, holy moly!
Just to tie back into your last question of the pros and
Yeah.
cons, like for me, that's a pro because like how many like
Because I'm a creep.
how many people have seen that?
That's true.
I mean, that's cool. It's
Yeah.
true.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I mean
Yeah.
that's. I think whether you're in residential or commercial, that's one of the coolest parts of the job. Is
Right.
when
Yeah.
you go into like see cool stuff. You're like, whoa.
I was blown away. Look, they took me in this room. He said the post office, I was geeking out. He said the
I can
post
tell.
office spent like $1 million on this one backup generator, like $1 million on this one unit. And the unit it was probably like 20 feet long. I've never seen anything like it.
Ooh,
And
it looks like a
he
school
said,
bus.
yes, he said it wasn't even like a rectangle. It looked like some sort of hadron collider. It was like cylindrical and long. It was like an engine. There were all these 4-inch pipes coming up off the top of it. He said they've never used it. He said it's also designed to only run for like 40 seconds until the backup generators are at full speed. Anyway,
Wow.
I let him take me through this whole facility, show me all these things, and then he
Crazy.
goes, so what do you think? I go, oh, it's way outside our scope.
He's like, wait, when did you know that? How long did you let me talk?
Like as soon as I walked through your front door and saw your security guard sleeping
I
at
really,
his desk,
I just had to use the bathroom really
That's-
bad.
yeah.
So
Clark's my friend.
Wow, that's
I figured he
awesome.
wouldn't be too mad.
I don't mean to drag this point out, but just because you told that story, I actually got to work in this building. It's maybe like 10 or 15 minutes from my house. It used to be an AT&T call center.
Huh.
So we were getting shown around for what we had to do, and we got walked into this room, dude. It was the same thing. Creep me out. You walk through the door, you're probably in like you walk through like there's like these triangles that are like ascending up towards the ceiling, and like it makes a hallway that's maybe 3.5 feet wide. Like feels like the walls are closing in on you when you walk in. But then when you get to the end of it, on each side there's like 15 like 4-inch PVCs, and the guy was telling us that I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with Massachusetts, and I'm gonna assume you're not very. So like from
Just
where I
I just
live,
know Kyle Figueroa.
so you know that like the shape of the state in like Cape Cod, like
Mhm.
it's like the arm that's flexing in
That's
Massachusetts.
right. Yeah.
So the guy was saying that those pipes ran from that building all the way to some town down in Cape Cod that's like 35, 40 miles.
whoa.
Huh.
Insane.
What were the pipes you just wire?
They were just all
Inductors?
gigantic
So
cable
they
and
Oh,
shout
interesting.
from one
lines.
building to the other.
Yeah, no doubt. That's
I have
wild.
no idea.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I love that. I mean, that's probably one of the cooler things we get to do is just go into places and
Hmm.
I think it's pretty awesome. So what do you see yourself doing as you move forward? I mean, right now you're doing commercial work. When you think about your future, what's that look like?
I'm not sure because
Yeah.
like I said, where I work now, I love it. I love all the different stuff I see every day, like all the jobs I'm doing, but I still
Yeah.
do residential on the side, like all the stuff like service changes, snake and wires, all that stuff. I kind of want to do my own thing. kind of want to stay where I'm at. I'm not
Yeah.
not really not really
Yeah.
sold on either yet.
Yeah, you should really be sold if you're gonna jump, because it's
Exactly.
yeah, you gotta know,
Exactly.
you gotta really want to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I definitely want to. I eventually want to do my own thing, but I kind of want to. I'm still like I want to feel as well rounded as possible, so
Okay, that makes sense. I think that's a great idea.
I can just feel comfortable. Like I don't want to go into. I kind of I have a hard time kind of saying no to work,
Yeah.
so I don't want to. Like I'll say no to stuff
You'd be
that I
great at
obviously.
running your own business.
Huh? What'd you
Yeah.
say?
I said you would be great at running your own business. Yeah, trust me.
That's one of the
Yeah,
things you're
We're,
supposed to
we're
do.
like we're like, all right, we're gonna make this hard line. We're never gonna take this kind of customer again. And then somebody calls and we're like,
Sure,
okay, well, this time. And after this, we're gonna start doing that line thing.
this one will
Yeah, you
work
know
out.
how it goes.
This one will be good though.
Yeah.
This one will be good. Well, we're gonna learn from that last time we did this, and we said we'd never do this again. And
Yeah, I'll tell you
sounds
this
different.
though. I'll
that's
tell
it.
you this. It's like starting your own business is an accelerated course in what you thought you knew that you don't know.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like, it's absolutely go get well rounded, do your thing.
Yep.
But I can tell you whether you do it tomorrow or 10 years from now, starting your own business will teach you things that you just couldn't have learned in the other arenas. It's all about cross training, right? So you
Exactly.
do residential, you do commercial, you do industrial, maybe you do government work. Running your own business, even if it's in one of those fields, it's still kind of its own category.
It is. It's its
Oh,
own course.
Yeah. And it's
Right.
like,
It's
yeah.
its own
And you're not going
animal.
to learn about commercial unless you do commercial.
Yep.
Same thing with running the business, you know? So,
Yeah, 100%.
but
I think it's wise to. I think it's wise to try every. Get it immersed in every.
yeah. And
Every
if you don't currently hate what you're doing, it's like,
Totally.
you know,
Right.
I got to a point where I was enjoying working with the company I was, and then they took a big turn and it just wasn't the same. And it's like, it was time for a change, but rather than change to another company, we were at a place where it made sense to do it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like,
I love the way you guys did it too. Like just the business part is it's great. I love it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks,
we're,
man.
We're working on it. We're figuring it out.
yeah, we like it so far.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and we keep going. We keep going back and forth between how it works, how it grows. Yeah, it's cool. I like that it just kind of becomes its own thing outside of you a little bit. Like it just kind of takes on a life of its own. Yeah, running a business is super rewarding. And Josh is right. It's like there's no crash course better than being completely responsible for everything. It's like, oh, I forgot that again. Damn it. Okay, yeah, all right. Today's gonna be rough. Damn it, I knew it. It's like you have to be so organized if it's which is good. I mean, it's like it sounds like the things you're going through too are just gonna put you in that. The more you just get into positions where, like, I think it's also as you develop skills, you just have less patience for things not working right or not. It's hard to be in a situation and it's just a shit show, and it's hard to not step in and be like, hold on, guys.
Yeah.
So once you're at that place, it's like either step into management or start a company, one of the two. But you're a young guy though.
I think for me, the most important part of working with another company is that they give you that autonomy. Because electricians, as Doug's dad would say, are pretty proud of themselves.
As the dad,
And-
a rusty
and
statement.
So even if you work for somebody else, most electricians have their way. There's the right way of doing it, but you can do it with your flair and your style, right? And it's like
Yep.
maybe how you like to keep your tool bags and how you like to keep your truck set up. And it's like
Yep.
when a company starts to impose on that,
Yeah.
that's kind of what was happening with the company I
Yeah.
was at. They wanted us to redo our trucks. They wanted less tools in the trucks. They wanted and then on top of that, I already kind of hated their shirts. And I know that seems really silly, but man, we started this company, and honestly, between the stickers and the shirts,
Yeah.
it's like
I
that's
can
my
tell
happy
those
place.
shirts are. I can tell the shirt that is.
Yeah.
But so that was for me. That was enough to push me over the edge, and
Yeah.
it's like I needed a change. But if the company you're at lets you kind of stay within their mold, but like do your own thing a little bit,
Yeah.
that's a great
Yeah.
thing.
And
Yeah, I agree.
that's where it was at before we got bought out by the other company. But like they kept like they didn't fire anyone.
Okay.
People just left at their own will,
Okay.
Yeah.
which was it's like on the field side was a lot of people.
Okay.
So
Oh wow.
that was kind of It was pretty bad. Like they have an on-call rotation, just for an example. It used to be like close to like 60 licensed guys on that email. It's like 17 now.
Uh,
Yeah, it's crazy.
like
But like,
weekends, night times, weekends.
yeah, I was just on
Yeah.
call over
Yeah.
Christmas week, so
Right on. Oh
like,
God,
yeah. Luckily, nothing happened, but it's just like
you never know, right? Yeah.
there's a con for you.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, definitely.
That's part of the industry too. I mean, it's like, well, it's also like we had a conversation recently with this guy who talked about set the expectations that we set in the industry without really knowing that we're setting those expectations, like that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Some types of work it's necessary. Like I've mentioned before, I worked for a generator company, and the main focus was generator installation and maintenance. So
That was probably cool.
it had its upsides, and then most of it was like I didn't like generators, mostly because you just need staff to just go like maintain them.
You're basically
which,
a car mechanic.
yeah, which
Yeah,
from
exactly.
a business owner's perspective is really a wise move. And a couple of conversations back, Dom Rubino, who's the business coach, was talking about having that sort of like finding ways to have that recurring income or that like subscription money for your company. Like, what are ways that clients have to rely on you? HVAC, it's kind of built in, right?
Right.
You've got the systems that have warranties, whatever the case may be. But what are those things for us? And generators are a big one. But from the employee side, at least in my opinion, because I came to that company after I was already, I think like 3 years in. And I knew damn well I wanted to be an electrician, and that's what I wanted to really work. And in fact, I went and worked for a solar company that Josh worked for too. And I was there 3 weeks, 3 weeks. And I told them,
He's like,
and
I made a terrible
I
mistake.
did. I was like, guys, I screwed up. I can't do it. Because they just, like, I was the only electrician on staff. And so they were like, can you go sit every inspection we need? It's just like, I'm just going to
Which
sit.
is like every day.
Every day I'm going to just go sit in a truck. I couldn't. There was no way. So then I went and worked for that company, and what I saw from the employee side was like a lot of generator maintenance is oil changing. You're basically like a roving Jiffy Lube where you have these oil canisters, and it has to happen. And that's probably a good job for somebody who's young and getting started, and they had guys like that. But for me, when he had busy work and he just was like, hey, can you go out and change the oil in these 20 units? It's like, yeah.
No.
You're gonna lose me, man. You're gonna lose me, dude. I'm training to be an electrician. I do not want to go change oil, and I know that makes me sound like a prima donna, but I just didn't. It was like a waste of my fucking time.
It's
like,
about knowing what you want.
Yeah,
Same way.
yeah,
Same way.
Yeah. Because there's plenty of guys who want the paycheck, want the benefits,
yeah.
and don't, they're like, and that's a perfect fit for them.
That is the
You
perfect
know?
fit for sure. Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Yep.
You'll get someone to do it. I just don't want to.
yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
And you could see it on the everyday guys. You could see them come, the younger guys coming in, kicking buckets over. Fuck, shit's fucking boring. So like stuff like that. Where it's like all right, yeah, man, it is. Leave, find another one. Yeah, that's not worth it. But I think the turnover rate's high for business owners with those models because it's like it's hard to keep. I mean, where's that go, right? But from a business perspective, it's not a bad move to have some sort of recurring thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Generators are just too cumbersome. You might as well be an HVAC tech, kinda.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but I mean,
That's funny you say that too, because I haven't done much work on generators, and I'm like, I really want, I want to get into generators.
they're cool.
Well, the initial setup, I mean, the wiring and stuff,
They're
that's
cool.
all pretty cool.
The
That's
transfer
all
switches are
electrical.
cool.
Transfer
Totally.
switches, all
Absolutely,
that stuff,
yeah.
control wiring.
Yeah.
It's the actual maintaining of the generators.
Yeah,
that's
it's an
kinda-
engine.
Yeah, so and like for us, we don't do any kind of automatic backup generators. For one thing, we can't do them at a cost that makes it worth it.
Right.
We
Yeah,
can't. We don't have a gas
exactly.
fitting license, so we
Yeah.
can't do that. So, but we'll do portable setups for
Yep.
people,
Yep,
and that's
yeah, I do
nice
that all the
because
time.
the maintenance is all on them.
Yeah,
Yep,
So
100%.
yeah,
One day job, you're out.
it is. Yeah, we
Yep.
just had an inspection for a portable hookup today. Yep.
Beautiful. Flying
Beautiful
colors,
thing.
I'm assuming.
What was that? Flying colors. Flying colors.
Oh yeah.
I think we just passed.
I think it happened. Yeah.
No,
Was that today?
That was today. Yeah, that was today.
Yeah.
So when you're 27,
Yes.
Okay. So you're a young man, and you're a skateboarder. How long you been doing that?
Since I was 12.
Okay. So since before the
Yep.
electrical trade. All right.
Yep.
Was the skateboarding one of the reasons your mom sent you to the Votech school?
I mean, now that I hear that out loud, probably. Probably.
Yeah, right on.
But it didn't really help because I still do it. But
Yeah, that's
but
really
yeah,
cool.
I'm super grateful for that because
Yeah.
that's probably like that's probably what made me so into the electrical trade
Hmm.
was being so into and just dedicated to skating every
Yeah,
single day.
sure.
Then like
You ever you ever have any bad injuries knock you out of work?
um not recently. I had a knee injury when I was 16 or 17, I think.
Okay.
But when I was in high school, yeah, I was skating a contest. Like actually, I think it was the first day we got there. We actually went there to warm up, and like 30 minutes in, tried doing something, fell out for 8 months.
Damn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so but luckily I did it when I was 17. So
Yeah.
that I healed fine. Like my knee's good.
Good.
So I mean, it gets sore.
What what are the main parallels that you see between something like skateboarding and electrical work? Why? Because there's so many. How many friends do we have that are in the skateboarding crew that ended up in the trades? They're so synonymous. And
Yeah,
we just talked to Brian Duffy from Transition Electric, and he owns a small skateboard company. And like,
that's the best name ever. That's awesome.
yeah,
Transition electric. That's great.
Transition Electric. It
Love
is,
that.
and yeah, his skateboard company is Test Skateboards or Test
Oh no
Skating.
shit. Okay.
Um, but it's just seems like such a common, so many skateboarders. What do you feel are those common threads?
So I think it was Josh that made the point of like if you're working for a company, they let you can do your thing with your own like your own flair, your own style. Like you can stand out. Like yeah, I work with a 700 to 800 other electricians, but I can stand out.
Yeah,
Like it's that. It's like
yeah,
you can stand out by having your own style on a skateboard, and you can stand out by doing clean work. Like
yeah.
keeping your van clean, keeping your tools clean. Like there's and to other people it doesn't seem like much, but like some people notice.
I
Yeah.
think that's the best way to stand out is with simplicity. Like doing the simple things really well is the best way to stand out.
Yeah, because really, I mean, only people who are talented in that arena will notice that
Yeah,
usually.
agreed.
Right.
You know, on the
The
outside,
nuances,
yeah,
yep.
it all looks pretty similar, but like,
Yep. Those little nuanced differences. Yep.
yeah,
I think the biggest like I don't know if it's necessarily a parallel or just an attitude thing I got from it was like that contest where I did get hurt at.
Mm,
I wound up going back I think the next year and actually skating the contest, but like it's
nice.
you're there with it's literally like 300 people and not a very big skate park, and everybody is so good, and it's just like you're sitting there like, oh my god,
Yeah.
what are these people doing? But then like I'm like, well, I mean, I why can they do it? Like I can do that too.
That's
So then
right.
like you go like you said, you walk into this big job and you're like, oh my god, look at this transformer hanging from the ceiling. But it's
Yeah.
like we all start at the same place. Like you can figure it out if you want to.
Oh, you got the perfect mind for a business owner. You're gonna get yourself in so much trouble. I love it. Oh, I bet I could do that. Yeah, that's
That's awesome. But yeah,
I
so
feel, I
yeah,
feel the same way though,
uh,
where I'm just fascinated by something and I just want to try to do it. But yeah, it's not always.
exactly.
But
Even like,
but
dude,
getting that confidence.
I
Yeah,
volunteer for stuff like where I work now. Like,
good.
dude, I volunteer for shit I have no idea what I'm gonna
Yeah,
get into. I'm just like,
yeah.
yep, sounds cool. I want to do it.
Well, I mean, the worst that's hopefully gonna happen is that you make a mistake, and that's not a bad thing.
Right.
I mean, it can
But
it can be,
on the
but
going back to the pros and cons, the pros, I have a lot of resources.
yeah,
If
right,
I fuck up,
yeah,
like I have something behind me.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
sure.
At the
Doug's got
same
me.
time, like
We got each. This is all we got. We got Daniel.
Yeah.
Try calling Daniel though and asking him. He doesn't know.
So,
He's
he
great.
seems
He's a good
awesome.
kid. Yeah, he's a good kid.
That's
He just
awesome.
doesn't know anything about electrical work yet. I'm kidding. He's getting there.
That's not.
He-
Is he? What did he do before? Is he like
he's a
green green?
kid. He was just a kid, just frolicking, probably like rolling in the grass. He probably had one of those like round circles that with a stick where he like ran through the streets with the circle, the wooden circle.
Like how kids in 1901.
Yeah, he was like a
played.
1901 kid. Yeah, he's like a little
Yeah.
dirty, like he was
No,
worked
he
in the
was
factory.
he had a few little jobs here and there, but he
Yeah.
basically was like same thing, man. He's like, I don't think I want to go to college. I need to find something. And
So no experience prior at all.
no,
Well,
he
yeah, he
worked
did.
with one
Yep.
guy, kind of a real like smaller than us operation.
Keeps
but it,
rubbing it in our face.
but it seemed like it was kind of it was a family friend of his who maybe wasn't full time. I don't know. I got
Yeah.
a strange impression by it, but definitely
We
didn't
think
s-
he's lying. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I mean, I tell everyone I would rather have someone with not a
Yeah.
minute of experience than
Oh, yeah.
somebody with like
Oh.
6 months who thinks they know.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
and the reality
Yeah.
is because it's like you can teach anyone to do electrical work, but
Yes.
it's like
Yeah, 100%.
if you're not a good person
Yeah.
and you kind of suck to be around, it's like I don't want to teach you electrical
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he's a good person. He's funny, especially for a young kid.
Yeah, he is funny.
And it's like he's somebody that I actually like. All right, I'll actually teach you something because
Right.
for one thing, it's like I can tell you'll take it and do something with it.
hmm
You know, you're not just gonna like waste it, but also you don't suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
That's hard to
Even if you
find,
suck,
I
like
think.
if they're trying, like
So
if you're really trying and you suck, like you're trying. I'll help.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people do make you question that adage that like if you do keep trying you will get better though. Sometimes you're just like, damn, wait, you still are not, huh? But it's, not everybody. Not everybody's cut out for everything either.
Oh yeah. I'm sure
How-
you guys have seen some
I
ridiculous
mean,
apprentice stuff.
yeah.
I think we all have. Just like funny shit.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell when someone if it's gonna work out or not. Like, I mean, I had a guy 3 days in came up to me and said, "So is this like what we do every day?" And it's like,
Yep.
yeah.
Sucks, right?
So that Friday,
Well, see you later.
that Friday, I dropped him off at the parking ride, and I'm like, "All right, man, see you Monday." He's like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
see you Monday." Never saw him Monday.
I'm kind of glad you made that point because like one of the things that kind of turned me off too when I was really young, like the first few people I worked with, like whether it was like the owners of the companies or as the people they worked with, like I would always have someone come up to me and be like, "So what's up, kid? So you still want to be an electrician?" And I'm like, "What? Like, what is it? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't. Like,
Well-
what is gonna happen?"
But
This was the grace period.
what's gonna happen? Oh, you wait and see.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll find out, motherfucker. I'll tell you what.
End up like this.
Yeah, like us.
Yeah.
Sad and broken.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. We love life. Life's good. But that's, I think on one hand, it's probably just an old timer's way of
Yeah.
relating to you.
That's
And in
like, I love not being that person to someone
Yeah.
who has no idea.
yeah,
It's like, no, this is fun. Like,
Yeah.
it's a good time.
yeah.
Just hang in there.
What do you think it is about those of us who like this sort of thing versus like people who don't? Like, what is, because it is hard. It is like, it is frustrating. You do want to like, if there's like a cat in the vicinity, sometimes you'll think about kicking it. Like you're like, I'm mad, you know what I mean? I'm
yeah.
kidding. I'm kidding. I don't
No,
kick.
no.
I
It's
don't
like
kick.
I love cats.
I love
man.
cats. I'm just kidding.
I love
Oh, why
cats
would you
too,
say
but
that?
if
I'm
there
not-
was one- if there was one in the room at certain times, you just don't want that.
I'm kidding. I'll never kick a cat. But you know what I'm saying. Like it's frustrating
Yeah.
work. So it is. Yeah.
I think for me, it's like because I've been in those. Like, I mean, you guys work in old houses all the time. Like,
Don't remind
dude,
me.
it gets very frustrating.
Yes. So
then-
frustrating.
Dude, when you get it, it's awesome.
It is. It's true.
Yeah, I think that might be the key right there. Because
Yeah.
it's like some of those guys when they get it,
It's so it's
It's
for
not that
me,
it's awesome,
It's
they're like, all right,
extremely
that's over.
rewarding.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
that mentality though, it's
Yeah.
like I don't think they'd be happy with really anything they would
Yeah,
do.
you're right. That's
It's
right.
like
That's exactly it.
it's
Yeah.
like Doug had a chance to meet a guy I used to work with, um, and
I remember.
it was when they were doing their journeyman test together, and he had a chance to meet him, and you could just tell by his general attitude that it doesn't have. It could be electrical, it could be plumbing, it could be
Anything.
sitting on his couch at home. There's going to be something wrong with it, and it's not going to be his fault. And there's gonna be nothing he can do to make it better, and so that's
Yep.
just life, right? And it's
Yep.
like, so I don't know.
No, I think you do know. It's true. It's an attitude. It's an attitude thing.
Attitude.
It doesn't matter if you. It's not about what you're doing. It's about how
Well,
you're doing what you're
I
doing.
have another theory too, and let me ask you guys. So I
Yeah.
know, Doug, you're into gardening. You have other things that you really like doing.
Yeah.
Josh, what about you?
Oh yeah.
And were you into that prior? Were you into that prior to getting into the trade? Did you have something that you really like? You wanted to do it and you wanted to be good at it prior to actually getting into the trade.
Well, I got in the trade at 18. So
Got out.
right
Got
out
into it.
Oh, into it, okay.
Right out of high school. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Same. Here.
at the time, I wanted to be a photographer.
Hmm.
So I was into photography. And I was gonna actually do that. I was gonna go to school for that and do that as a career. And it just didn't. I was enjoying it, but basically, I talked to a professional photographer who was like, "Look, you're really gonna have to like this a lot if you're gonna make it your career." He's like, "It kind of killed my passion." I was like, "Oh." He's like, "Yeah." So he's like, "Maybe just." And I know it's like the worst advice for dreamers and artists out there everywhere, but he's like, "Find a job you can handle,
Right.
and then do this as your passion."
Yeah.
And thank God he said that, because I don't take any pictures anymore, man. Other
Yeah.
than what's on my iPhone.
Yeah.
I have a nice camera.
Mhm.
I still love it when it happens, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't have wanted to make it my career.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that was something I was doing before the
I don't
trades.
think that's bad advice necessarily. 'Cause
I don't
mean,
think so. I know that most people are kind of split on that camp. I tend to agree with it
Yeah.
in terms of like,
I do, 100%.
you know, yeah,
Because like especially
because
for me too, like skating, dude, it just took. Even now, like I'm only 27, but like I was going, like my teenage years, like 17 to 24, I'd say, like going hard, dude. Like
Yeah.
like I feel it.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
I feel it. It's not
Yeah.
maintainable for me at least.
Yeah.
I can still do it. I can still do it and have fun, but like if I kept at the level I was doing, like I don't know how maintainable it would have been.
Yeah. Sure.
yeah,
Just
Well,
body
everything's
wise.
things have shelf lives, you know. It's or there's like there are times to shift and move, do
Mhm.
something else, try something, transfer. I
That's still
think one of
good.
them, I there because there's and that's why I kind of was asking about the what you felt like was a parallel between skating and electrical work, because I think there's so many transferable things that you've got to really dig to find in the stuff that you do. Like a lot nowadays, there's a lot of like people not wanting to take on regular jobs.
Mhm.
They don't get paid enough to care. I've heard that a lot. Like, oh, I don't get paid enough to care, and that could be true. But
Oh, it's such a bad attitude.
it is a bad attitude, and it's looking at an opportunity as something that's in your way or preventing you from growth, and it's not true. Like we all had to have jobs where we started because the truth is we didn't know how to do anything. So you can't.
Right.
Well, and I think they're missing out on the most important part of practice there. It's that chop wood, carry water mentality, which is that whatever you're doing, you have to do the work. And so it's like
Yeah.
doing it and doing it well, it is the practice. Because when you get into business for yourself, or when you go to work for a company that really values what you do, you have to be able to do the boring work, and you
Yeah.
have to be able to do it well.
It's true.
And doing
Exactly.
boring work well is absolutely part of a good attitude.
Agreed.
Your
Exactly.
ability to find the good in it and make it worth doing and have fun doing it. Because a lot of times this stuff is boring.
Yeah. I argue that that's our responsibility as human beings, is to make it, it's up to you. It's up to you. You what not
100%.
not only what you do, everybody's capabilities are different,
Mhm.
but how you do it, it's up to you. I mean, look at the people. You know who people are always enamored by, like the regular blue collar person who has like a remarkable personality, or like I saw some Chick-fil-A commercial not long ago where this woman like brought this guy on to be like, you all just need to meet this guy because he's a remarkable person. But it's not that he's a remarkable person, it's that he works at Chick-fil-A and he's a remarkable person. And so it's just not, it's just like you were saying, setting yourself apart, standing out. He's not doing anything other than the simple things really well.
Right.
He's just being a good version of himself, and he's waking up in the morning and he's making the effort to be like, I'm gonna do it this way.
Right.
It just takes a conscious decision to not be a miserable piece of shit.
Dude, it's funny, but it's so true because like
Yeah, it's hard to
what I
do
started
too.
with, dude. Just like
Yeah.
hard, like
Yeah,
ugh, just
it's
don't want to
hard.
be around it. Like
It's true, and
Yeah.
and I think that's helpful sometimes, is being around it to where where it gets you to the point where you're like, I don't.
not worth it.
Do you feel like being a younger person, folks that are your generation, maybe younger, how do you try to get them? I don't know, like how do you relate to people who are your age? Because I feel like most people your age are probably not. I don't
Kind of
know.
hard.
Everybody's going to college. Like, do you feel like it's harder for young people right nowadays to feel like getting into the trades is something that they're going to relate to or is going to be for them? What do you think's standing in the way?
Well, the first part of your question relating to people my age, like thankfully most of my friends I grew up skating with, so like I can still, we're still we can talk about that and like go skate and do all that stuff. But like, I mean, outside of that, it's kind of few and far between. I don't know if that's necessarily turning people off from getting
Yeah.
into it. More so, just like it's not so. Um, I don't know if I want to say it's just like it's not a glamorous
Yeah. Okay.
occupation, or there's like still that, which I don't even understand where it came from. There's like that, like it's kind of like a fuck up like
Mm.
second resort kind of thing. Like, oh, you couldn't
Stigma.
make it out
Right.
Yeah.
being a lawyer or something, so you fell back into construction. Like, I don't know if it's that,
Hmm.
but I will say the people that I have got into it and they actually liked it,
Hmm.
they took it and ran.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
used to live with my buddy Jeff, who just turned 40, got into the trade at 35 or
Hmm.
30, 35 or 36.
Right on.
Started working with me at the small shop. He was the person of four. He finished the crew,
Cool.
and he's in his last year of school. He's trying to get his license. Loves the
Excellent.
trade. He's about to start a new job. Like,
Yeah.
love that.
I do too. I think the folks who, it's just you've got to have that mentality in order to want to do it. You have to recognize why. It took me a really long time. I didn't do it till I was 35, and
Yeah.
it took me doing a bunch of things, and in all those things being like,
And
do this, nah,
I
sitting
tried
still,
getting
can't
him
sit
in for a
still.
while. Like, I'm like, hey Jeff, like, hey, you want to work Saturday? Like, boss needs
Yeah.
help. Want to
Okay.
work? Want to work?
Yeah.
And then he
What was he
finally
doing
did that.
before? What was his job before?
He was working at this place doing screen printing,
Okay.
just making T-shirts, like pulling T-shirts, folding, boxing, shipping. And now
Okay.
he's about to get a great job. He's super hyped, loves it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Huh. That is cool. I don't know. Maybe it's a personality type
Mhm.
thing. Because like
Could be.
for me, it it was something I got to do every day that I enjoyed, and there was satisfaction. There was a visual result,
Mhm.
but also everything I took from it, I was able to translate. And not just the electrical skills, but like the skill set with using power tools and hand tools
Yep.
and being around the other trades. It's like being around carpenters and plumbers and HVAC guys. Like I go home and I've got a shop, and it's like, I mean, that's what I did today with my a little bit of time off before I
Yeah.
came here. It's like I'm building shelves and I'm rearranging stuff, and it's like
Yeah, it's
there's
awesome.
really it's like a grown up Legos. There's not
That's
much.
exactly
There's
what it
not
is.
much in the way,
Yeah.
It's true.
other than the cost of materials, and of course a lot of those. I had plywood that came off of job sites from years ago.
Yep.
I didn't have to buy plywood for like 8 years because
Yeah.
these carpenters they're finishing a big house and it's cheaper for them to chuck that stuff in the dumpster than to store it and move it to another job. Plus, it's already
Yep.
paid for them. So it's like they made fun of me, but like every time plywood or 2x4s or 2x6s,
Yeah.
I mean there were 16-foot 2x6s that were going in the dumpster,
Oh my
Douglas
God.
fir, and I'm like,
Wow.
they're
Nope.
going on top of the van.
Yeah.
And it's like I stashed them for like 6 years, didn't touch them, but now it's like they turned into shelving last year.
That's awesome.
And it's like
Perfect.
Beautiful
so
thing.
it's
When hoarding works out.
yeah, hoarding building materials.
You should write a book. Hoard,
I
when,
don't-
hoard your future
now
dream
hold
house.
on there, don't get rid of that stuff yet.
How to hoard your dream house into reality.
But it's like I mean,
hoarding.
Yeah, right.
You know what you
It's-
want.
there's a repetition. They talk about the 10,000 hour rule, but it's
Yeah.
like that repetition of using tools, and not only using tools, but being in the building mindset.
Yeah.
When you go home and the wife says, "Man, there's nowhere to put this stuff," it's like you could click it on and off. Like it's like it's second nature.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, shelves there. I need this, 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 and this, and I know where they are. And it's like I know how to use the tools. And it's like,
And then the wife is
Yeah.
like, but why don't you do it this way?
are you are you sure you want to put it there?
Couldn't you just do it this way, though?
Good. I'm already too far gone though.
Are you married?
No, I live with my girlfriend though. I actually,
Okay.
So-
it's funny that you just say like the mechanical skills you can
Yeah.
flip on and off. I actually I fished her nose ring out of the bathroom sink last night.
Oh, nice, man. Well done. Well done.
Yeah, I just went out and grabbed a snake.
There you
Good
go.
man.
Get it out of there. Now, go ahead.
No.
No, please, please.
Well, I was gonna say, so I was an electrician for maybe 12 years when my wife and I started dating. And the first time I was at her house hanging out, having coffee, she had a broken light fixture, and she mentioned something about it. She's like, "Oh, you're an electrician, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I fixed the light fixture right then and there, and she said she was like super impressed. And like I played it all cool, but like in the back of my mind, I was like, I knew I did this for a reason. It's like it only took 12 years to really pay off.
That's
But it's
awesome.
like it's true. And it's like anytime I see a guy who's like in the trades, but like questioning whether he should stick with it, I'm like, he needs a girl
Yeah, man.
who finds it awesome.
Yeah.
Because then I mean that's what dudes do anything for, right?
Yeah.
And it's like so once you have a girl who's like, no, that's cool, keep doing that.
That's
it's
so
like
true. And they're out there, guys. They're
Yeah,
out there.
absolutely.
There are ladies who really like trades guys. It's true.
Yep.
It's true.
And
So
if,
what were you gonna
Very
say?
true.
what was I gonna say?
Look, there's 3 of them right here.
That's right. Hey, come on. Hey, I mean, we're all taking. Oh, I was gonna say. So, Billy's your partner is a stylist, right?
Yep. it's just
Right.
opened
That's what we
up,
have in common. That's right. So my wife is a hairstylist as well. So the electrician hairstylist duo.
Mhm.
It's a good combo.
Mhm.
It really
Good.
works out. She and my wife is like she's the anti hairstylist. Josh has known Sarah for a long time. Like a lot of hairstylists are like, they got the hair and they got the they're into it. She's
Yep.
just she would wear sweatpants if they let her. You know what I mean? She's
Mm-hmm.
great at what she
That's
does, but
awesome.
like she's not into the whole culture. It's wonderful.
Yeah, my girlfriend's she's about it. Like I said, she's opened her own shop.
Oh, cool,
Oh,
man.
awesome.
Dude, the place is actually it's huge. There used
Yeah.
to be like it used to be a juice bar that was
Huh.
like so at one time they just put a wall in the middle, turned it
Yeah.
into 2 units. Lady came in, made it one. It's like 2,400 square feet.
Whoa.
Place is cool.
Yeah.
She's doing
Just
good
her
stuff.
place? Does she have how many seats does she have?
I think she has 4 seats, but it's just her right now. She
Wow.
she just opened in I think the beginning of December.
Okay.
So just about
Congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a process. It was a lot.
That's another trade.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Totally. Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yep.
I feel like that's a good one too, like hairstyling. Like once you have your clientele built in, they won't go to anybody else.
Yeah.
Dude,
Which
I
is
was-
which is good and bad.
right, and like I was telling her that the whole time too, because she wasn't working for a little bit, opening the shop, and I'm like,
Mhm.
they're not going anywhere. Like
They're not.
they're not.
My wife can't shake her clients off. She can't. Like over Christmas, we all got the flu. First, like the week before Christmas, we were all, you didn't want to come near this house. We should have burned it to the ground. We were all so sick. But I was appalled at the response that she got from her clientele. Not all of them, but she reached out to say, "Hey, I have the flu, and I feel awful." And a lot of them were like, "Yeah, but like
What about
my hair though?" And I was like, "Damn, that's heartless." You need to tell them to go
Damn.
pound sand down a rat hole right now. Holy moly! Yeah, just can you wear a
Wow.
mask? Can you wear a mask while in a sickly state? Make me look more beautiful. It's like, damn, that was just some cutthroat shit, man.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah,
Well, it's got
yeah. I
loyal
mean, look,
clients, I guess.
what are you gonna do? You know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's true.
You know,
Always got someone coming back.
I guess so.
What you do is you say, "You're right. Come over," and then you throw up on them.
That's a good point.
And they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
It's true.
Look,
Especially
there's
going to
an
your
old
room.
the old Shel Silverstein poem called "If You Have to Dry the Dishes," and I'll recite it here on the podcast. It's
excellent. Here we go."
if you have to dry the dishes, such an awful boring chore. If you have to dry the dishes instead of going to the store. If you have to dry the dishes and you drop one on the floor, maybe you won't have to dry the dishes anymore.
Very well said, Doug. That's
Shel
actually
Oh my
Silverstein.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah, I live by that rule.
yeah.
I'm gonna
You
start-
really fucked this up. Well, I mean, what are you... No, I'm kidding. I don't.
You don't wash dishes very well, Doug.
Might as well
I
start
don't
over.
wash
at this
dishes
point.
at all. Nobody asks me to. Are you throwing them across the kitchen?
You
I'm
got
making
too
a
many
point.
anyway.
Right. So you were saying, when we were first talking, you were mentioning how much you enjoy working with like youth and
Yes.
trying to what do you see? How do you see that working out for yourself? Like, what capacities could you do that in?
I really like teaching.
Yeah.
I taught a second year class at the company I work for now because they have their own apprenticeship schooling program.
Okay. Cool.
Whoa.
So
Massachusetts.
I taught the second year class, which was great.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Cool.
It was awesome because I feel like because I remember where I was like sitting in those classes like listening to the dude talk and like trying to follow in the code and looking at everything and I'm like
Yeah.
this is a bad idea. But then like one day like just
It clicks.
something clicked. I don't know how or why, but now I feel like I can navigate it well. I can
Yeah.
explain it well. I understand it. So like I like being able to do that for other people.
Mm-hmm. Help them link
cool.
those turns.
Yeah, exactly. 'Cause,
You're
like, even the class I taught, like I was teaching like for, I mean like what we would talk about like I guess like basic stuff like just
Mhm.
GFCI, AFCI, all stuff like that,
Yeah.
like distance between supports and everything, but like actually showing them in the code, like I can see
Mhm.
some of them looking at me like, dude, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Sure.
yeah. You're
I
young
remember being
enough
there.
still that you haven't worked with someone who's like truly young and makes you feel old. So it's funny, like I turned 36 yesterday.
Dude, the kid I
And,
work with now, he says some stuff and I'm like,
Dude, right. Like,
on.
so when
Yeah.
I was in my 20s, I still felt like young enough that I kind of like could connect. But like you hit your 30s and you work with someone who was born in like, for you, it's going to be someone who was born in like, 2012 or something.
Oh my God.
And it's
Yep.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's like, oh, whoa. And like they don't get references that you,
nope.
references that aren't
Like
that
you've never
old,
heard of Alf?
you know?
They're like, damn, you're old as shit, man.
Like,
yeah.
you made some other video years ago. Oh my God, I forget one of the names you said, but you were like, yeah, I sent my apprentice to the van to get me a pair of dikes, and he comes back with Dick Van
Andrew
Dyke
Dykes
instead.
Clay. Andrew Dykes Clay.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, man. You gotta always be coming up with names for your tools.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was so funny. Like, yeah, the kid I work with now every day. Like, oh, dude, I'm like, John, you're killing me, dude. I feel like this right now.
I can't tell you how many times we go through that with Daniel. So many. Look, Frederick, Maryland. greatest city in the world. We're driving in my Tacoma. Daniel's in the passenger seat. It's a sunny, beautiful day, and we pull up to a house that Patsy Cline actually lived in. And there's a little plaque outside the house. Patsy Cline lived in this house for a period of time. She lived in Frederick. And just because he's not that familiar with the town, we pull up to the light where that plaque is, the house next to us, and I go, hey, Patsy Cline lived in that house. And he goes, who's Pat? And he didn't even get it out of his mouth. I go, God damn it, Daniel. I was like, your parents did a really good job raising you. You're a good kid. But they shit the bed on your cultural education. Like, you don't know Patsy Cline. But then in his defense, I started playing Patsy Cline songs, and he was like, oh, I know that song. I know that song. He just didn't know her by name.
Oh, that's so funny.
Well,
Yeah,
it's cool that you like to work with the young guys,
Yeah.
because I think you get a lot of the old school electricians. They're kind of jaded and they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's what I started with. So I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
never doing that to anyone.
dude, it's so important to have people like you that are willing to make that connection. I enjoy working with Daniel. I don't know how many other young kids I could do it with.
Yeah.
Dude, I've had some.
I'd have to find out and see. But it's like it's not my natural tendency.
Yeah.
We talked about it recently. It's like in the trades, it's kind of like your responsibility to pass the knowledge on and train people.
Yep.
But that can also sometimes not everyone's meant for that. It's
Yeah,
like
true.
I
Oh
don't-
yeah.
I always thought I was a good teacher, but I don't know. It's like I struggle with it recently. 'Cause
No,
it's
I
like,
think you're a good. I think you're a really good teacher. I think
thanks,
I think he's a really shitty student. I'm kidding. I'm joking. He's a good student, but
No,
no, teaching's just a challenge.
I'm sure he's good, but like there's probably. I mean, how old is he?
19.
Just turned 19.
Oh Jesus Christ.
He's
Yeah,
getting
dude.
he's getting
The
big.
kid I
We-
work with just turned 22, I think.
oh, okay, yeah.
So-
We put a new mark on the doorpost. He's like got a little taller this year. Marked it up, labeled it. Daniel.
Yeah, no, he's good. There's those days when, and a lot of it has to do with small business. It's like
Yeah.
we told him when he came on board that he's going to kind of like he gets a front row seat to watching the chaos that is us figuring this out.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like it really it can be demoralizing sometimes because like
Yeah.
you know there's these moments where he's like, "Are you sure you guys know what you're doing?"
Yeah, you're like you're
you
eating.
started a business.
You're like eating shit on something, and you turn around, and he's just right there over your shoulder. Like,
one day I made a mistake and he goes, "Was that supposed to happen?" I was like,
no,
no, Daniel, thank you.
no, it's not supposed to do that. And we just broke
If
that.
you need to ask that question, no, it was not supposed to happen.
No, yeah, he's an awesome
It's.
kid.
I think the things about teaching, though, that are beneficial to us too, are those instances where you have to eat it and be humbled by an experience even more so because you do it in front of a. Yeah, it's like when you have kids too. We both have little girls, 5 and 6, and I've got a 22-year-old daughter. So I mean, I've been through that whole phase where it's like. And it continues to this day where I just am
Dad's a
a
joke.
dummy who doesn't know anything, right? And it's just I think it's part of why we have kids. It's part of why we as you get older you have to share your knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've ever told the story on the show before, but I was sitting on this dock a couple years back. A friend of mine had passed away. His whole family was coming over and having the celebration to celebrate his life. And he lived on in this lake near us, and we always would go down to his dock and swim. So I'm down there, and there's all these kids playing in the water, and they're running, man. There was this one kid, and he just kept getting back on the dock, running and doing a front flip, and he would get out, and he would get back, and he would just do it over and over. And I thought to myself, it was this really eye-opening experience of like, man, when you're little, you just have this abundance of energy. You have so much of it because you're going to mess up so much. You need to counterbalance the dumbness with all that energy. It's required for the stupidity that is in your body. But as you get older, the energy goes down naturally. So you have to work to get wiser so that you don't make those mistakes because you don't have the energy to make up for them anymore. It has to be compounded with wisdom. You can't get back on that dock. You won't be able to pull yourself out of the lake anymore.
Yeah.
You're old.
Like, yeah. Yeah, you forget a tool in the attic and it just stays there.
That's
You know?
I've done it. I've left tools in ceilings. I'm like a pirate. I just go around burying me treasure in all our clients' ceilings.
Hey, you're not alone, dude. I do the same shit. You know what's funny though? I left the drill above a drop ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I realized it like I'm looking in my bag and I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Like I don't know where
Yeah.
that went. Shit. And they're like, oh my god, I know where it is.
Oh,
I go
good.
back like 3 months later. There it is.
That's awesome that it was still there. That's great.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Well, Billy, man, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us, man. It was really good to get to hear your story and hear more about you. Where can people find you online?
Just Instagram, Drowne
Yeah.
Electric.
Cool.
That's it. That's all I got.
Awesome, man.
Cool, man.
That's not a bad thing at all. Yeah, man. I mean, I enjoy following everybody on this in this community and seeing how everybody grows and what
yeah,
sort of things you're
great.
gonna take on. Yeah, man. So we appreciate you being on.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was
All right,
fun.
brother. We'll be talking to you soon.
Later.